Welcome back to the Libra Love Lounge, the show where I read posts on Reddit and give them relationship advice. My name's Eliana Camargo, and let's jump into the first post. Feeling nervous but want to get out of the friend zone. Okay. Hi guys, I need your advice on the following situation. I met this beautiful girl and I did ask to meet her. Afterwards, I told her that I want to have more than just friendship. She said maybe, and that she needed time to think about it. When we saw each other 3 days later, she said that I'm super nice and likable, but that she currently doesn't want a relationship. BS, she just doesn't want a relationship with you. I'm so sorry, bruh. I mean, that's not entirely true. Sometimes people genuinely are in a place in their life where they don't want a relationship. I just can't relate. I don't know what that's like. But either way, this is not looking good. Somehow hoping she'll change her mind someday. I try to be a friend for her, and we met regularly, like once a week. Yeah, hoping that someone changes their mind one day is not a good approach. It's not good to hang around hoping someone will change their mind. It rarely works out. Unfortunately, I noticed that over time, she tried to limit the time we spent together. Then she asked if we could write less frequently. Oh, sir, it's time to move on. Now, yesterday, when meeting, she did tell me that she was asked out on a date by some random guy in the mall, and they did actually meet for coffee. That let my heart stop. Oh, I'm so sorry. She did tell, though, that she let him down, saying to him that he was super nice and likable, but that she doesn't have time for a relationship. And time has an exclamation point. Like, that's super important. She doesn't have time for a relationship. So it's not that she's emotionally unavailable. It's just her schedule needs to clear up, and then she'll fall in love with OP. That's definitely not what's going on. Making for me the situation even worse, I went the day afterwards on vacation, and when I will return, when she has just left for her long vacation. We see each other again in the middle of October. Now we are writing almost nothing, and when she is, not really interested in replying. I feel a little bit like I'm being let down by her. Just a little bit? Just a little bit. Now I'm super nervous that maybe she could meet this date person again, or anything happens while I'm not there and before her big vacation. Although she let him down, etc. At best, I like to ask her out one final time for a date after her vacation, as she is a very nice and beautiful girl and could even be the one. She can't be the one if she's not into you. The one would be into you. The one would reciprocate your feelings. The one wouldn't string you along. She's not even stringing you along. She's like slowly letting you down gently. Is there any way how could maintain our chat communication in a low-key way, but also maintain my contact so that I can ask her out later on? Many thanks for helpful advice. Sir, you have to move on. I'm so sorry. You should spend this time that you're on vacation and she's on vacation as letting go, not messaging her anymore, getting rid of this fantasy of the future that you have. I very strongly relate to this situation, very strongly. And let me tell you, if someone's not into you, they're just not into you, and you have to accept that and you have to move on. And I know it sucks because it's rare to find people that you actually like, at least in my experience, it's rare to find people that I actually like genuinely vibe with. And so when you meet someone like that, it's hard not to fantasize about what a future could be like with them. But you deserve someone who chooses you from the start, someone who doesn't put you as a maybe and then goes on dates with other people and then slowly stops texting you as much because they're trying to give you a hint that they're not into you and that you should move on. And people can sense when you're being their friend just because you hope one day that you can get into their pants. And I'm not saying you're just gonna use her for her body, but people can sense when you're being their friend because you want something more romantically and not that you're just genuinely enjoying their friendship and liking to be around them. And it's not a good feeling when you're in her shoes. So I think she's doing the right thing by slowly texting you less, and you've got to get the hint. You've got to get the hint that this is not the way to start a relationship. There's nothing you can do to convince her to like you. You're worthy of love, and you're worthy of somebody who chooses you from the start and who reciprocates, and that's not her. And I really feel like the universe is timing these vacations perfectly because you're meant to spend some time away from her. When you finally reach the point where you realize that you have to let her go and you have to let this fantasy go, because what it is a fantasy, is this world you've created where she could be the one, she could be your future partner. And I'm sure you're daydreaming of all these scenarios. But those scenarios only exist in your head, unfortunately. I have been there. But she can't fill that role. She's not filling that role. She's not texting you. She's not choosing you. She's not being in your life. So you've got to choose yourself. And self-love would be detaching from someone in this fantasy that isn't real. And I know it sucks. I know it's hard. I have been here. I have been in these shoes before. And the best thing you can do for yourself is move on and cut off the friendship, because clearly, even though you like her and it would be nice to have a friendship with her because you enjoy her company, you're always going to want more. And it's going to be hard to find somebody else that you're attracted to when you're stuck being around this other person who's not reciprocating. So I'm sorry, I'm sending you so much love. You deserve better. You deserve to move on and use this vacation time as you're grieving and you're separating ties. You going your separate ways. But let's see what the comments have to say. Ask yourself, would she do this if she liked me? This girl clearly is not into you and has set boundaries to avoid leading you on. It's best to respect that and move on so you can find someone who is into you. I realize this is tough to hear, but continuing down this path will only make you more sad/disappointed. Listen to her. She said no. Yep, that's all that needs to be said. Okay, next post. What do I do if a guy hasn't messaged me in 48 hours after an amazing date? Why is texting so stressful? Texting only in dating circumstances. Texting friends is like rarely stressful, but texting and dating sucks. So I, 25 female, met this guy, 32 male. We spoke online for a week or two and then went on our first date. We really hit it off. The chemistry was all there. It felt genuine and he was kind and respectful and we had a lot in common. It was our first date and he was already talking about how he had future plans to go to gigs he thought I'd like, and if all goes well, that we should go together. Okay. As the night went on, neither of us wanted to go our separate ways, so he said I was welcome to come back to his. He said there was no expectations of anything and that he even had a spare bed if I wasn't interested in anything, which was true. Spare bed was true, or the you not being interested in anything was true? What? I know this is such a cliche, but I don't sleep with a guy on the first date. That's not cliche, that's pretty normal and self-respecting. Well, most women are not into that just because like you need a connection with someone to want to open up your body to them. I've always been in long-term committed relationships and this was super new to me, but he ended up being an exception to the rule. It was amazing. He was also super affectionate afterwards and I had this euphoric feeling of maybe this could be something. Ooh. He drove me home in the morning, we said our goodbyes, and he said he'd like to see me again. I already have mixed thoughts and feelings. I don't think there's anything wrong with sleeping with someone on a first date. I'm getting weird vibes from this guy. Him inviting you over and being like, oh, but like I have a spare bed in case you don't want to do it. Like that was bullshit. He wanted to sleep with you. That was entirely his intention, and I feel like he might have been buttering you up by being like, if this goes well, we can go to these sweet gigs together. Like part of me is like, yeah, maybe y'all really had a great connection and he was also super attracted to you. So he's like, yeah, let's sleep together. But like, I don't know. I've been on a lot of dates and it feels like he was buttering you up and he 100% had expectations of sleeping with you. He was just being respectful enough and understands women's psychology enough that he's telling you there's no expectations, but he was definitely hoping for it. He didn't just want some random chick to spend the night at his place on a first date. That's weird. Okay, anyway. But as all great Reddit posts go on a sub like this, there's a twist in this story. The next day, he was flying out to go away for 2 weeks. Over this 2-week period, my anxious attachment issues have really flared up, but I'm dealing with them and so far it's not too bad. The reason for the flare-up basically boils down to the fact that his communication has been super spotty and slowly he seemed to be less interested. Of course, that's how this always goes down. I'd ask about his day and he'd tell me and be excited and have the same tone through text as before, but he wouldn't ask anything about my day or what I'd been up to or anything. Now I understand logically, he's in a different country, he's probably busy or doesn't have signal, and I'm also very aware that this man does not owe me shit. We went on one date, and although I liked him, that doesn't make me entitled to his attention, and that my anxiety I have about this purely comes down to the fact that I have abandonment issues. I've been in therapy, I'm working through it. Don't you wish that being cognizantly aware, is that redundant? Is saying cognizantly aware, that's redundant. Doesn't it suck that being cognizant of your issues like this and your attachment issues and all of that, I wish that was enough to overcome them, but it's not, because your brain and your heart are doing two separate things and it's annoying. But I feel this, girl, I feel it. This brings us to the present day. It's been well over 48 hours since he last sent me anything. In most cases, I'd just shrug it off, no matter how much I liked them, and leave it be, but I'm debating that and also anxious about making rash decisions out of fear of missing out on something. I don't want to double message, I don't want to come off as clingy because I understand logically that he's probably busy or just can't respond, But emotionally, I'm going in circles and also really fearful of rejection. He's meant to be back in the country tomorrow. Just feel like I need to figure out what's going on. Or even better, figure out how to not be so triggered by everything. I just want any advice anyone can offer, even if it's not to do with the situation directly, but about how to better manage these fearful emotions. No, well, I feel her. I completely feel her. This is my life. This is how I am. I feel like when I'm on vacation, I don't really want to be texting people that often. And if I went on a first date with someone and then they're on a vacation, I'm probably not gonna be texting them that often. I would kind of assume that I'd maybe text them every few days. If that, I would just wait until they got back from vacation, depending on what kind of texter they are as well. If they're responding to me, then I'll be texting them, but I'd kind of follow their lead and like not be offended if they're going a while without texting. But one huge component of all of this is guys can sense when you're anxiously attached. They're not aware of this. They're not consciously sensing it, but subconsciously they're reacting to how your emotional state is and your attachment style. And when you're anxiously attached, you'll just naturally repel guys that happen to be more on the avoidant spectrum of things. It's just the way life works. And until you heal your attachment style through going through situations like this and being triggered and then working through the triggers, when you're overthinking things after the first date, it's just kind of the way of life, the way life works. I actually have a video all about how the subconscious mind works and how attachment styles play a role in that, and why when you're anxiously attached, it just kind of reflects in guys slowing down communication, kind of pulling away from you. So if you're curious, you can check out that video all about how the subconscious mind works right over here. But pretty much in order to overcome your anxious attachment style, you have to self-soothe and, ask yourself what meaning you're giving the situation. Like when he's not responding, what is your brain telling you that means? Is it that he's not interested? Is it that you're not worthy, that you're not attractive enough, you're not good enough to keep his attention? You're worried that he thinks you're being too clingy, that you're texting him too often. Write down all those limiting beliefs that you have. So write down all those beliefs and really sit with the emotion. See how the emotion is feeling physically in your body. If you feel a tenseness in your heart or anxiety in your stomach, and really sit with the emotion and allow it to be there, send it love. And then you really follow the limiting beliefs to the root. So say one of the beliefs that comes up is he's not texting me and that means that he's not interested in me. It's like, okay, so why does it matter if he's interested in you? And you'll say, because I really like him and I really want a boyfriend. And I'm really fucking hoping that this is gonna work out with this guy, because if it doesn't work out with this guy, who knows when the next time someone comes around that I'm gonna like, and I need him to work out. And so then you kind of see that the root of your anxiety is that you're just too desperate for a boyfriend. Or maybe it's a different route of you think it means something about you, that you're not worthy of love for XYZ reasons, and you're never gonna find anyone that, if he's not texting you back, it says something bad about you, that you're not worthy. And so then you have to flip that belief and tell yourself affirmations that I'm worthy no matter what anyone outside of me thinks or what this guy thinks about me. Whether or not he likes me, I still know that I'm worthy of love, and that I think that I'm awesome and beautiful and smart and all of these things that you might be perceiving that he doesn't appreciate in you. And you have to validate yourself and essentially boost your own self-confidence and your self-reliance, and not needing someone external from you in order to make you feel wanted and desired. There's even affirmations that you can play, like affirmation videos that kind of help reprogram your brain with this belief that you're worthy of love and that you're on the pedestal instead of somebody else. So playing those in the background while you go about your day can be really helpful at releasing that anxiety. Yeah, that's my advice on how to deal with stressing about texting and whether or not somebody likes you and whether or not you're gonna get a second date, or where a relationship's going, if he likes you as much as you like him, because really it's only been one date. And that's essentially it. Journal, find what meaning you're giving the situation, sit with the emotions, allow them to be there and come up and purge out of you, and then flip your limiting beliefs and tell yourself affirmations. That's essentially what you need to do. And it's not just a one-time thing. This is something that you have to do ongoing throughout all of your future dates and all of the emotions that come up as a result. But let's see what the comments have to say. Don't stress. He might be doing stuff as he's flying tomorrow. Wait for him to respond. I assume he will contact you when he lands. Ball is in his court if you want to be something. Otherwise, write him off. Don't speculate or make bullshit scenarios in your head and hurt yourself. And then OP responds, he was at a wedding, and I'm not sure when that was, but I think it was either yesterday or the day before. So I've been telling myself he's busy seeing people or doing things for that. So that is true. That's definitely something I struggle with. I often make up scenarios and drive myself insane, and I really wish I could just turn it off because it's unhelpful and exhausting, honestly. Thank you. I completely relate, and one thing that can be monumentally helpful with this, meditating every single day so that you can learn to kind of control and observe your thoughts and become the master of your mind rather than existing in your mind, you're the observer of it, and then you can kind of, anytime these thoughts bubble up, you'll have, it's like meditation is like exercise where you're strengthening a muscle. Every time you do it, you get better and better and better at it. And so if you meditate regularly, when unwanted thoughts like this come up, you're better at just observing them and then letting them pass by instead of following them down the rabbit hole. Okay, next post. Me, 24 female, and my friend, ex-boyfriend, 25 male. So is your friend or your ex-boyfriend? Want to date again, but our relationship is very and was always very different. I'm stupid? Okay. I met my ex-boyfriend in 2022 and we hit it off immediately. Very different from anyone I've ever met in my life. We started dating 2 months after that and things just went horribly wrong within the first 2 weeks. He wanted a one-sided open relationship. Great, absolutely great. He could see other people, but I wasn't allowed to. Yeah, no, that's not how that works. That's not how that works. My first reaction was a resounding hell no, as it should be. But at this point, I had already fallen way too hard for him, and I was a naive little farm girl. He claimed he was polyamorous. I read up more on it, but nothing about what he wanted made sense if compared to a normal poly relationship. Fast forward, I couldn't take it anymore and eventually broke up with him. Good. We didn't date for very long, but enough damage was done by this point. Fast forward a few weeks ago, we reconnected and he claimed to have changed a lot. And at first, with him admitting to everything and apologizing, really thought he had. We both agreed to only be friends, but that didn't last long. After one night of going out and me making out with one of his friends and him getting jealous, one thing led to another and we were talking about dating again. We already technically are dating without the title. Oh, it doesn't matter if there's a title or not. If y'all are seeing each other, oh my goodness. But we still don't want the same things, and he still wants to see other people. But this time, according to him, it will only be superficial and I'll be his girlfriend. What? That doesn't make it any better. Obviously, I have to stay faithful to him. I genuinely love him, so this is a lot more difficult. So do I agree and go along with what he wants? Or do I ask him for a complete monogamous relationship or for an open relationship, which he will probably turn down on both sides, or just cut this off completely? What do I do? Girl, girl, just no, get out, leave. This dude doesn't respect you. He wants his cake and he wants to eat it too. And he gets jealous when you're kissing his friend, but like, oh, he's allowed to sleep with other people because he's polyamorous, but heaven forbid he be with someone who's polyamorous, who's also being with all these people. Which, by the way, you never mentioned whether or not you're okay with the idea of being open and like if that's something that actually excites you and that you would want is to have an open relationship. You didn't say anything about that, but based off of how this is written, it doesn't sound like that's something that you naturally want. Like you would do it just to make him happy and make yourself semi-happy if you both agreed on it. But it sounds like neither of you actually want that. You want a monogamous relationship based off of that being the first thing that you asked if you should ask him for. So no, he doesn't want the same things as you. And even though you love him, but I love him, it doesn't matter if you guys aren't compatible and you don't have the same idea of how a relationship looks. And so many people think that they're in love, but really they're attached. So much of what people think love is actually just attachment, and it's being addicted to them. It's like they're a drug. And yeah, they might be a lovely, wonderful person in all of these ways, but true, genuine love has no attachment. Unconditional love is love without conditions. It doesn't matter what your relationship is with this person. You can love them from afar. You can be deeply, very deeply in love with someone and not have them in your life, not have a relationship with them, because that's not the healthiest thing for either of you. Yeah, no, don't be with this guy. I know it's hard when you're attached to someone to let them go because you like them and they're so cute and they kiss really well. But you're better off on your own, opening up space to find somebody who wants a monogamous relationship like it sounds like you want. Let's read what the comments have to say. First, ask yourself this. Is an open relationship on his end only fair to you? Respectfully, why would you consider to agree with what he wants? I'd say have some more self-respect and either choose to have a monogamous relationship or both of you have an open relationship where you can both see other people. There's no other way around it. Good luck. Do you want someone to have sex with? Stay with him. Do you want a serious relationship? Don't stay with him. It's literally this simple. It's a little bit more complicated than that because lots of people like to convince themselves of like, oh, but like the physical intimacy is so nice that I'm totally fine with just this. But in actuality, they want something deeper, or they catch feels for somebody, and people convince themselves that they're just having fun with the physical component, or they're using someone for the physical intimacy until they find someone better, but you're not gonna be in an energetic state to attract somebody better into your life while you're using someone for their body and for your physical needs. You have to open up space in your life energetically to attract a partner who is genuinely good for you and will be monogamous with you, because you can absolutely find a guy who meets all of the requirements of what you desire in your life. Okay, next post. Partner, 30 male, is buying a house without me and letting 2 friends move in. I, 27 female, have to move back in with my parents. Oh my god, this is giving me flashbacks. This is giving me flashbacks. This sounds vaguely similar to a situation that I was in with my first boyfriend. But I was 18 back then, not 27. I'm 27 now for the next 3 days. For the next 3 days, I'm 27 as well. Hi everyone, some context. We've been together 4 years and lived together for 3 years. I moved into his flat that he's been renting for a few years before we met. He's now saved up enough money to get a mortgage on a house. It's always been his dream, and I went to viewings with him and helped him decide. It only took a few months for him to find one. He asked me to buy it with him, but at the time I wasn't in a position to be able to afford it, and he said he wasn't willing to wait for me. That's fine. I said I would still like to live with him in the house and would pay rent and bills as normal. He wanted this too, but due to the monthly payments on his mortgage being so high, he was asking for much more than I could afford per month. Again, that's fine. I was already hunting for a better job anyway, and he knew this, but wasn't willing to wait for me. But what I don't think is fine is the fact that he then asked 2 of his single male friends to move in with him instead, without even talking to me about it first. This feels very familiar. A couple of weeks later, I then secured a better paying job and am now able to afford the rent costs he was originally asking for. He still hasn't moved in. It's looking like late October, but now he will not let me move in with him. He said the money he will be getting from his friends will basically pay off his entire mortgage, and that he would be stupid to say no. Isn't there a term for that when you get roommates and they pay for your entire mortgage and you have like a free house? There's a term for that. It's like rent hacking or something, I don't know. I've even asked if I can move in also with just one of these friends, and he still says no. Why? Why? That's not what I want, obviously. These people are strangers to me, but I was trying to find a compromise, and I don't understand why he still won't let me. If you don't understand, did you ask him? Did you ask him? Did he give clarification? Because y'all need to communicate. Does he just not want to live with me despite saying he does? He literally said to me, I don't want to live with these people. I'd much rather live with you, but it'd be stupid to say no to all that money. Even though I would be paying the same as one of them anyway. Okay, something fishy is going on. I wonder if the reason I'm reading this is because it's the same reason as my scenario, in which case I will help you out, girl. I'll give you the tea. I'll be the oracle telling you your future is going to be exactly like mine. Just kidding, hopefully not exactly like mine, but can anyone help me make sense of this? Whenever I try and talk to him about it, it just turns into an argument. He doesn't owe these people anything. No one has signed any contracts. He wouldn't be leaving them homeless. I would have to move back in with my parents, which just isn't a position I want to be in at my age. We plan on having kids in the near future. I just don't see how that will be possible now. His logic is, I gave you the chance, you didn't take it, now it's too late. No, it's literally not too late. It is literally not too late. But I literally couldn't afford it at the time, and he told me he wasn't willing to wait for me. I had no idea he was even considering asking other people to move in. I thought it would just be a case of me moving back in with my parents temporarily until I find a better paying job, then I can move in with him. But no. Yeah, this sucks. It sounds like he does not want to progress his relationship with you. The interesting thing is how he's not willing to wait for you to get a better job, to buy the house, or to rent a room in the house with him. I feel 50-50 on that, where it's like if you really have a partnership with someone and you're trying to build a life with someone and hopefully move towards marriage, you think that you would want to do those things together and that you could be patient and wait for them, especially if it does seem like a viable opportunity in the near future, on the horizon. But I also understand some people are just really, really love the idea of owning a house and wants that financial investment as soon as possible so they can stop throwing away their money at rent and have a mortgage instead. And they're really impatient and just like want a house yesterday. And so I understand that that's a completely valid way of going about life. And so I understand him not wanting to wait. But then when the circumstances change and he's not willing to compromise, I guess I will tell the tea about my first relationship. I was 18 and I was with my boyfriend for a year and we were going to move out into an apartment together. But then his brother reminded him that he had agreed to buy a house with his brother at some point, and they were like just right at the precipice of financially being able to afford buying a house together. So they ended up buying a house and I was gonna be a roommate. And I wanted to be involved in the process, like obviously I wouldn't have any say because I'm not buying the house, they are, but he's my boyfriend. And I love house hunting and seeing different houses and stuff. Like I think the whole process is cool. So I wanted to be involved and like hear about it, but he wouldn't be telling me anything. I didn't see any houses. Really, his brother was the one pulling all the strings and being in control of everything while he just kind of sat back and let his brother do everything. So I had absolutely zero investment in the situation because his brother was controlling everything. It was going to be my boyfriend, his brother, and I was going to be, paying for a room. Then last minute, their cousin was like, hey, I need a place to live and you guys have an extra bedroom in your house. Can I live with you? So this cousin that I've never met before, the week before we're gonna move in, decides to live with them. So it went from my boyfriend and I going to get an apartment together to this house with his brother and his cousin. He had a way better job than I did. And so we decided that I was going to pay for rent as a percentage of the income that I make versus his. So combined, we pay for half of the mortgage, but he would be paying for I don't remember what it was, but a lot more than I was. He would be covering me essentially, which I will never, ever, ever get into a situation like that ever again. I never want to be financially dependent on a man, especially because of how the situation turned out, that he fell out of love with me and essentially stonewalled me, pretty much ghosted me while we were living together. He completely changed. He wouldn't talk to me. Anytime I tried to communicate with him and ask him what was wrong, he would argue with me and blow up and yell, nothing's wrong, and he would refuse to communicate. And it essentially forced me to break up with him because he wasn't being my boyfriend anymore. And then I had to move back in with my mom, which was a whole stressful situation because I couldn't afford rent with a roommate since I could only afford this situation because I was paying for it as a percentage of my income. Yeah, the whole moving process was the downfall of our relationship. I wasn't involved in the house hunting process at all. I wasn't hearing about it. When we moved in, he completely stonewalled me and refused to communicate about what was wrong and essentially was being a coward and wanted me to break up with him so that he wouldn't have to do the dirty work and kick me out. But it sounds like that's exactly what she's going through, but worse because they've been together for 4 years and they're a lot older and everything. So I am so sorry that you're going through this situation, but it gets better. It definitely gets better. I'm very grateful that we broke up and life's been a lot better on the other side. That was an incredibly stressful situation in my life. Even though in the past you and your boyfriend have talked about having kids together, it kind of sounds like he's changed his mind and thinking about a future living with you is probably giving him cold feet. And instead of communicating like an emotionally intelligent person would, he's instead getting angry and arguing with you. And I really don't think that your relationship's going to last. But there's an edit, so let's read what she has to say. I'm reading everyone's comments, crying my eyes out. I feel like such an idiot. I don't know why I couldn't see the obvious answer staring me in the face. Actions do speak louder than words. But when you've loved and trusted someone for 4 years, you don't ever stop to consider they would feed you so much bullshit. Oh, well, let's see what comments were getting her in her feels. Let me tell you this. I love to sleep with my partner and waking up with her. I would be totally fine to pay extra money to keep her close to me as much as possible. That's the purpose of making money, to have a happy life with her. Your partner doesn't have such a desire for you. Oof, exactly. Like they would be patient and they would want to live with you, and it doesn't sound like a partnership that you have. Very sad. He's definitely putting money above their relationship. He's not that into you, just leave. He's trying to break up with her and making her do the work of breaking up, just like my ex. Exactly. He's distancing himself from you without breaking up with you to save himself from looking like the bad guy. He's waiting for you to do that. Exactly. Honestly, now you're making good money. Take this as a blessing. Move in with your parents, save, and then go buy your own home. Show him you don't need his house or him to be happy. That'll be the biggest F you to him. This, even though it sucks right now, this is a blessing in disguise. And if my life is any indication of how yours will go, life is so much better on the other side, and you will find someone who's so much better for you, who doesn't put money above your relationship, and who chooses you and wants to be with you and wants to live with you and grow a life with you. You'll get through this, and you deserve all of the best things in your life. And on that note, that's it for this episode. Thank you so much for watching. If you want the tea on even more people's love lives, then you can watch another episode of the Libra Love Lounge right over here. But until next time, I'm sending you so much love. Bye.